The decision to screen aspirants or to disqualify rests solely with the appropriate organs of the party. I recognize the rights of people to aspire to the office of the governorship of the state. I also recognize the right of the party to ensure that things are done in accordance with the party guidelines and constitution. So only the party is competent to explain why that was done.
You are one of the APC aspirants in Ekiti State, disqualified by the national headquarters of the party in the primary election. Am I right?
Yes, yeah.
You went to court. At the moment, let me ask, what is the situation?
The hearing has adjourned to 2nd of February 2020. That will be next month.
What are you really asking the court for?
What we are asking the court for is to tell the APC to conduct a primary election and that the disqualification of other aspirants without any justification should be nullified. The Constitution of Nigeria says, and we have seen that in the case of Rotimi Amechi, a precedent, we have seen that and that case got to the Supreme Court, and then it was decided that no party has a right to disqualify a candidate, an aspirant who you have sold your nomination forms to. So since we are in court, that is what we are asking the court to do, to let the party know that they don't have that right. They don't have that power to disqualify any aspirant, and that the party should allow a primary election to hold. That's our prayer in the court.
Are you saying primary election hasn't yet been held?
No, no primary. The APC till date have not held any primary election concern about on the forthcoming gubernatorial election in Ekiti State. No primary election held.
There was an affirmation of a consensus candidate. Affirmation of the consensus candidate of the party.
What does consensus mean? If there is going to be a consensus, all other aspirants that purchase the form of the party must be in agreement. They must sign and agree that they are agreeing, or they have agreed to have a consensus candidate. Nothing of such happened. The party, the NWC, did not meet and did not seek the opinion of other aspirants before they went ahead to declare Biodun Ebanji as their consensus candidate. And according to INEC, the letter they wrote to INEC stated that primary election was going to hold on that day that they had affirmation. They never wrote to the INEC that they were going to do an affirmation or to have a consensus candidate declared on that date. The letter they wrote, and which we have, is to INEC, was to tell INEC that on that particular day, the APC was going to hold a primary election, which never happened. And if you followed what happened on that day during when they were doing their kangaroo affirmation, you would discover that no national official of the party was present.
I recognize all the other members of the governorship primaries committee, as well as members of the national working committee of our party and state executive committee of our party who are here present, led by the state chairman, Chief Election. My mission is to move a motion for the ratification of consensus gubernatorial candidate of our party for Ekiti State in the forthcoming general election for governorship slated for June of 2026.
Look at, for example, what happened in Osun. The national chairman of the party himself was there. Other members of the NWC were there. And immediately after that election in Osun, the national party chairman, Professor Nentawe, raised up the hand of Ambo and declared him the candidate of the party. In the case of Ekiti, even the state chairman was not there to acknowledge or to raise up his hand as the candidate of the party.
I, Senator Michael Okoyemi Bamidele, Commander of the Order of the Niger, Leader of the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and of course, a duly elected delegate to this Congress, hereby move that this Ekiti State Special Nomination Congress of 2025 do ratify His Excellency Governor Biodun Abayomi Oyebanji as the consensus gubernatorial candidate of the All Progressives Congress for the 2026 Ekiti State governorship election in accordance with the provisions of Section 84, Sub 11 of the Electoral Act 2025 and in accordance with all the relevant provisions of the Constitution of All Progressive Congress. I so move.
It was him. If you are conversant in my page, you will see a picture where he felt his hand was supposed to be raised up by somebody, but the state working committee, they were not there. The national working committee was not there. So he had to go and meet Otumba Debayo and Kayode Fayemi. He stayed in their midst and raised up the hands of the two of them. That means he declared himself as the candidate of the party. And if you're looking at what happened, what transpired in Osun, you would see that what happened in Ekiti was just a mockery of democracy. It was just a fanfare. There was no election.
So you are saying that the national headquarters of the party was not represented, neither was the state chapter of the party represented at the affirmation? They
were not represented. And functionally, they did not carry out any function. You would even discover, if you follow the process of Osun, you would discover at every point, there were letters, there were releases signed by the national chairman to inform Osun State and the general public that the election was going to hold on that day that I heard in Osun. But in the case of Ekiti State, this publication was on the page of the APC, was released on the pages of the national chairman and other members of the party. But in case of Ekiti, no documented, there was no way, no document to say so date, at so time, and thing was going to be, thing was going to be happening in Ekiti State. So even at the time that primary election, that affirmation had, the National Working Committee, they weren't even sure of what they wanted to happen in Ekiti State. And they were not part of whatever happened on that day that Oyebanji had that fanfare in Ekiti State. And to me, he was just doing a goodbye, send forth party for himself.
But the person you say is doing a goodbye kind of program, we understand his name is already on the INEC portal as the APC candidate in the 2026 governorship election already.
That would be resorting to the party not having a candidate at all in the 2026 forthcoming election. Because if a primary did not hold, if the matter is in court, and INEC and the party is going ahead to recognize Oyebanji as a candidate of the party, that is dangerous. It is dangerous for the party. Because even it happened in the case of Zamfara. where no primary election held, and they declared the governor the winner of the election. And at the end of the day, the person that came second went to tribunal and he won. It was established that there was no primary election. Myself as an aspirant and Inaka or whoever was disqualified, and Ekiti people, they can attest to it anyway, that no primary election held in Ekiti State. So if they are going ahead to recognize him as the candidate, they are just mocking themselves. They are making a mockery of themselves. Because at the end of the day, whatever they do will be nullified by the court. Now they feel that they have money, they have the resources, they have the power, they can buy the INEC, they can buy the NWC, and they can even buy the 2026 election. Feeling that they have in that opinion that, okay, in Nigeria, everything goes. They can do and undo. But a day comes when you are dealing with certain people that everything you have been doing over time, and you feel that is the way it's going. It's not going to continue. And that, in my case, I will ensure that the proper thing is done. It doesn't matter how powerful or how rich they are. It doesn't even matter how powerful the party is. It doesn't matter how powerful INEC is. If they can violate the constitution of Nigeria, the law of Nigeria, to declare somebody that did not go through an election a candidate of the party, then we are going to tell them that there is a law that guides the process of a democracy. And if they violate that law, we are going to ensure that they don't eat their cake and have it at the same time.
You appear to rely on the court for the restoration of your rights in this matter, but it is a common knowledge that a court also once decided that a party has a final say on its internal democracy. So why are you not abiding by whatever
on its internal democracy, as long as it does not violate the right of a citizen? But if that internal democracy violates the right of a citizen to contest, to be voted for, or to contest an election, then that right of the party to decide what happened, it's going to be challenged. And we trust in the judiciary, because there is a constitution that states clearly that an aspirant can only be disqualified if the person is bankrupt, if the person has been convicted of a crime, or if the person is mentally challenged. But as long as these conditions does not apply to an aspirant, that person cannot be disqualified by a party. That is what the Constitution of Nigeria says. So I don't understand what the NWC of the APC is working with. And one thing that saddens me is this time around, we have a professor as the chairman, the national chairman of the party. So it's unheard of that things are done this way. When
what was the justification according to the national headquarters of the APC for your disqualification?
It will shock you, sir. It will surprise you. You'll be amazed that till today, nothing. There's no official document, nothing, no reason have been stated for the disqualification. Initially, they said somebody wrote a petition against me that maybe my nominators are not members of the party and all that and all that. And when I presented an evidence of they say maybe I was not even a member of the party. And when I presented evidence of my membership, they went silent on that. And after the pre-screening, they now came up with another excuse of, okay, you are not a financial member of the party. Financial member in what sense? I remember the day I was to purchase my form. On getting to the office of the National Organizing Secretary, the election officer there that was to attend to us, The first thing he asked me was the payment for the where is my receipt for the payment of my membership dues and all that. And in fact, that day I didn't remember that I had that receipt at home, or I didn't bring it along. So he asked me, we were looking for it in my document, I couldn't find. So he now said I had to wait and ask my guys, my PA that followed me, they should go and pay that money, another money in the party's office. And he asked us to pay for 4 years. I think a sum of 9,600 or something for the dues. Before I was issued, he made confirmation, checked my membership card, checked their register and everything, confirmed my membership before the nomination form was issued to me. And I'm talking about Mr. Casilo. That's the name of the man that attended to me. I remember I spent up to an hour in his office while they were going to the account to make payment, to do everything, before he issued that nomination form to me. So it will later shock me. After I paid for 4 years, and for 1 year, party dues for 1 year is 2,400. So we paid for 4 years. That's from now to like 2027 thereabouts. So when you now say, and that's the only money you pay to a party, unless maybe there are functions or things they want to do, and you are contributing voluntarily to contribute, not mandated to contribute. So saying I'm not a financial member of the party after paying my dues, and I even paid the one I paid before, I paid in excess of about 10 years. But because I was not having that receipt that day, I had to pay another money before they issued me. So that second allegation that they brought up, not being a financial member, I later brought out all my receipts and I presented it to them. Thereafter, there was no excuse. Till today, they have not said anything, any reason. They have not stated any reason anywhere. They have not communicated officially. Everything they have done about this disqualification was at or was seen on social media. And these are things that does not happen anywhere in the world.
So there is no official communication from the APC to you about being disqualified or not?
Yes, till this day, no communication.
Why did you come with a report that you are disqualified?
Just like I said, that report was published online. I was even shocked. The day we went for the screening, they told us, oh, congratulations, you have been cleared and all that. But after leaving, I think at about 11 p.m. the next day, somebody just called me and said, have you seen the news? I was not like, what news? He said, he now sent me a link that I should open the link. On opening the link, I saw disqualification notice. I was like seriously, what happened? So I called my lawyer immediately and said, well, let's wait for the official report, let them communicate to us. They didn't. So I had to call this Mr. Tassilu that I said issued me the nomination form. I called him. I saw so online, and I'm waiting. See, today I should have the messages I sent to him asking him for the official communication or official report of the disqualification. What he said, he covered different stories and now told me that the appeal screening committee will call me. So that was at the point I now agreed, because to me, I would have pretended that nobody disqualified me because they never communicated, they never wrote to me to tell me I've been disqualified. But at about Mr. Tassilu now told me that the appeal screening committee was going to call me. And at about 1 p.m., they called me. Somebody called me and said, I am the secretary of the appeal committee of the screening committee that disqualified, that the screening committee disqualified you. I'm the secretary of the appeal and we want you to appear before us by 2 p.m. He called me at about 1 p.m. and I told him that no, that's not possible. You can't be calling me at 1 p.m. informing me that I've been disqualified and you're asking me to come before you at 2 p.m. I said no.
In Abuja.
So he now told me, I told them that okay, they should give me like few hours that at about 5 p.m. I was going to come, and that you have to prepare documents to prove to them you're a member of the party and all that. So I went ahead preparing all the committee. So whatever they told us about that disqualification was only on social media and a verbal communication to invite me to their appeal screening, not to even tell me that they never gave us, even when we got to the appeal, there was nothing like an hard copy or a formal communication for the disqualification.
After attending the appeal committee's meeting, what happened? Did you get any other information after that?
That was also surprising that after that screening, till this day, no other communication. It was also on that same social media that we got to know that appeal committee did not clear me. They said they never even mentioned the reason. I have that. I should have that. If you go through that report, they just said what they wrote in there. That was the day they had, I think one of that state, maybe Enugu, and they set up the caretaker committee of Enugu. So they just wrote a report on Enugu and now put Ekiti report that, okay, for Ekiti, gubernatorial screening, Biodun Ebanji cleared. That other woman, Oluremi, cleared. Disqualified, Engineer Kayode Ojo and Abimbola Olajumoke. No reason whatsoever was stated for that disqualification.
Two of you were disqualified. It appears like you are the only one who has gone to court.
Yeah, Engineer Kayode Ojo happened to be an appointee of Mr. President. I think he was the chairman governing council of Nsukka. So, and just the day they announced that this final disqualification, he had a welcome party, welcome home in Ekiti State, and that was a big statement. And Ekiti was locked down for him. Even me as an aspirant, as an opponent, I was impressed by the crowd that came out that day. So, and I think that was the problem of Oyebanji and the NWC. I don't know if they were colluding or anything. So it was after that same day of that welcome back to Ekiti or something like that, that of his official declaration, that was the same day they announced that disqualification. So I think they concluded that declaration at about 6-7 p.m. and by 8 p.m. they announced our disqualification. That was too coincidental. It was too coincidental. So it was a planned thing just to disorient his supporters and himself. To cut a long story short, I think that the high later heard that he got a call from the presidency that the presidency was asking to see him because there was nobody that would have watched that his declaration that wouldn't be intimidated by that crowd. It was a statement that Ekiti State, no, we are ready for a change of government. We don't want this Biodun Oyebanji because he has done nothing. So it was that rally, despite all the intimidation and harassment that Biodun Oyebanji, they had to stop NURTW from working, stop taxi drivers, even they were beating up Okada riders and everything. But people came out, they walked. They showed that no, Ekiti people this time around, we are getting the incumbent governor. So it was a statement that shook everywhere, that shook everybody. And I'm sure that the president must have seen it. So I think that day or the following day, Engineer Kayode Ojo, I heard he was invited by the president and he had a meeting with him and all that. I never know. I never knew what they discussed, and that I don't have anything to do with that. And I think maybe because of his meeting with the president, he decided not to go to court. But me, I've never met with the president. I've never even met with the national chairman of the party, because every time you attempt to see him, they just want to dodge, because of maybe they have made up their mind to impose Biodun Oyèbánjí, a man that cannot win primary election within his own party, a man that is afraid of a general election. You want to come and write results in Ekiti State and impose him on the people, believing that you will do that and you will be happy. No, it's not going to happen.
Today, how would you describe the APC in Ekiti State in terms of solidity, unity, and all that, as a result of this, of issues about the primary election of the party?
You know, if a governor is not popular within the party, it doesn't even have structure. It cannot even boast of winning a local government. That's if it cannot boast of winning a local government election in a free and fair primary election. It cannot win. So he doesn't even, I'm not sure he can boast of having 10% of the members of the APC on his side. So today, as I'm speaking with you, and you see him harassing our supporters, arresting them, jailing them, incarcerating them. That's somebody that is supposed to unite a party, factionalizing it. So today, with what is currently happening in Ekiti State, the people are not happy with the APC. They are not happy with the party. Because if the National Working Committee or the leadership of the party, if they had allowed a primary election, and even if at that primary election, Biodun Oyèbánjí emerged, everybody would have somehow, okay, let's it go. But for you know, Ekiti people now, you know who we are, trying to violate, trying to tell us that we don't matter. No, we are going to prove to you that we matter. We are going to prove to you that we have rights as citizens of the country. So if they have allowed a primary election, even if he emerged with their kangaroo, whatever they did, it would have still be better than the situation that we are currently in now. The party members are not happy.
Madam Olajumoke,
So the party is factionalized.
You are aware that within your party, all previous governors in the party, in addition to those who govern the state outside the PDP, are all rooting for Biodun Oyèbánjí. Isn't this instructive enough to persuade you to submit?
I think 3 or 4 of those former governors are from my local government. I mean, it's 2 of them. We have Fayose and Otuba Adeni Adebayo, and even MOB. So we have 3 of them. In fact, 2 are I'm from Ekiti. Otuba Adeni Adebayo is from Michael Okwembamdele is also from Ekiti. The MOB that I know, the MOB Michael Okwembamdele, I've been his supporters from the days of BBA. I used to mobilize for him with my own money, using my own fund, my own resources, making face caps, just like this one you are seeing me wearing, t-shirts, mobilizing people to his rally. Before, he newly came to Ekiti and people did not really know his personality. But over time, people have discovered the type of person he is. And if not that President Tinubu came to Ekiti in 2023, Ekiti would not have elected him as a senator a second term, because as at that time, he did nothing. If he does not even have a relationship with Ekiti people. So the president he was not yet a president, he had to come and beg for him to come and appeal to the traditional rulers in Ekiti, and they should allow him to return. So somebody like that does not even have electoral value in the state. Even Otuba Adeniyi Adebayo, what electoral value does he have? Are we talking of Fayose that did not even come to Ekiti to vote in the 2023 election? I remember his son got the ticket of the House of Rep of Ekiti. They didn't even campaign. His son and himself did not come to Ekiti to even campaign, not to talk of vote. These people that does not have any electoral value. The last time Fayose came openly to Ekiti, that he went to Emure to go and campaign for Bao, they stormed him out of Emure. People that cannot ordinarily win the award without writing a result of vote buying. How many votes does Tumani Adebayo have in Ekiti? Even if he will come to Ekiti to come and vote. So these people, they are, to me, they are not what should inform the decision of the party on who should be the candidate of the party. Because they're just an individual like me. They may not even have the followers, the kind of followership that I have in Ekiti today. Putting all of them together, they won't even have that followership.
There are those who feel that going to court is actually to help Engineer Kayode Ojo more than yourself.
Well, they are entitled to their opinion. And if you look at me, over the years since 2014 or 2015, that's about 10 years ago, you would have seen that I've always been a voice against oppression, a voice against bad governance in Ekiti State. In fact, during the second term of Fayose, he arrested me, took me to court, and took me to prison. During the time of Fayemi, himself and his wife and Akim, they did. So I don't see a reason why any reasonable person that has a functional brain would think that somebody like me will come and act as a pawn in somebody's game. No, I don't do that. And even if I wanted to be a pawn, I know how many people have been reaching out to me to negotiate with Biodun Ibangi. I said, what has he done in Ekiti? I've always been an advocate of good governance. And that is what I'm still advocating for. A better Ekiti State, a peaceful Ekiti, a progressive state. Look at Oshunbi. Just hear us there. Look at what is happening according to in terms of development in Oshun, and compare it to our own states.
Okay. So if this case goes on till...
So I am not a pawn in Engineer Kayode Ojo's case, in his game. I am representing myself, Abimbola Olajumoke Olawumi.
So if this case in the court goes on till the end of the time frame for replacement of candidate, how do you benefit from your suit?
It definitely will go on because the hearing of the case starts February 2nd. And I think the last day for substitution and publication is January 20th. So he's definitely going to go ahead. And since the party, they are not ready to do away with Biodun Ibangi that cannot win the election for them, well, if the party decides not to have a candidate, that will be their cup of tea. But I don't think that will be the end result the presidency, the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu would want to have. I don't think so. Because I am not going to withdraw that case. I'm not saying now that the party should come and declare me their candidates. Let there be a primary election. And that's what I think the court is going, the direction the court is going to tend towards. That you cannot disqualify these people, let there be a primary election. So if the court, at whatever time, because INEC is joined with the case, INEC is part of the case. So if the court gives a judgment, let there be a primary election, it's an order from the court. And so the INEC can say, okay, we are giving you 2 weeks, 3 weeks to go and conduct a primary election. So that's where I stand. We don't want to destroy this country. Let there be internal democracy. Look at President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. A time came, Buhari wanted to handpick Lawan. That was the time the slogan we use today, Emilokan. That was the time he came out. Baba said, no, there must be a primary election. If there was no primary election, Tinubu wouldn't have emerged the president of this country. He wouldn't have won. So if in his own time, he could insist that I have a right as a citizen of this country to insist that there must be a primary election in Ekiti State. I advocate for the right thing, for justice and fairness in every game. Let there be a primary election.
My final question to you is this. Recently, we heard that the name of another candidate has disappeared on the portal of the INEC in Ekiti State. That is a representative of the PDP. That leaves
the candidate of the PDP, and that should even tell you, and should even make everybody to be sad about what is happening to APC, the National Working Committee, and INEC, because the reason INEC stated, or they would have stated, for removing the name of Dr. Oluyede from the list is because they have a pending matter in court. So if because of a pending matter in court, the name of Dr. Oluyede, who the PDP has declared and presented their certificate of return to as their candidate, cannot be, if his name cannot be published by INEC. How dare you publish the name of Biodun Oyebanji when we also have a pending matter in court?
People of the Fountain,